and all the whores and the politicians will look up and scream, "Save us!" And I will look down and whisper, "No." Welcome to Morning Reflections. I am your host, the Fat Mantis. Today I'm going to be reviewing the first episode of Watchmen, HBO's original follow-up series to the graphic novel by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. Much to discuss on this one.
First, this needs to be said.
I do not believe that any artist, or particularly in comic books or things that are normally serialized, have total claim over their things. Ultimately, he signed a contract with DC. He never owned the characters. He may have created a great piece of artwork, but ultimately, people should have the right to continue these people. The company has the right to continue the brand and make money off of it. Now, let me point out that we would never have gotten some of the greatest Batman stories ever, or any characters, if only the original writer artist was allowed to work on them. Imagine if only the original guy who did Batman could ever do it. We would never have Hush, Dark Knight Returns, any of this stuff. None of these things would happen. So it is important that we nurture art, but also in the ways of sequential art that we appreciate and allow these things to grow and allow other artists to tell stories of these characters. For starters, number one, I would like to say basic review. Ultimately, I really enjoyed this first episode. Is it exactly like The Watchmen? There is no way to really make a Watchmen sequel. It's almost an impossible task, which is if somebody ever says, well, in watching that pilot, I did not feel like I was watching The Watchmen. Yeah, you probably didn't feel like you were watching The Watchmen, because there is no way to emulate that. It is its own thing. It's been so many years. I've read the before Watchmen's. I haven't even messed with Doomsday Clock. Don't get me started on that one. But I have a feeling that no one really can do this task. So if we're saying, is this the best possible rendition of it? I would certainly say yes. I would say that King and all the rest of the other actors in this situation seem to be pulling it off, and it creates enough questions that I'm willing to follow these trails, to pull that thread of that sweater. Another thing is I can't wait to see how it really connects. It only pseudo connects at this point, but I can't wait to see it further down the line, what's going on, and when we get into Dr. Manhattan stuff and all these other things. And ultimately, I'd like to say that the grade that I am giving it, I am giving the first episode an 86. Make it feel like a real sequel, then we'll be talking 90s. Okay, guys? So, number one on this whole thing, the team. Now, although the story of the Watchmen takes place long after the team is disbanded and they are separated, the entire heart of the story is about their togetherness. So the question is, can these new cast of characters actually stick the landing? Now, obviously, in one episode, we can't determine that, but let's discuss who these people are. The first one is Night Sister. It's Regina King playing the Night Sister. She's a nun-themed thing. Remember, they're all cops, ultimately. They're vigilantes. They're not really vigilantes by definition, but they are masked cops and heroes. So she is a nun-themed vigilante, including with prayer beads that work as brass knuckles and all sorts of other imagery. She's really cool. She's certified badass. I can't wait to see more of it. Followed up by Looking Glass. He's our Rorschach ripoff character. There's a couple characters that have, or certain people have, the essence of the older characters, and it clearly is. He's eating with it. He rolls up his mask to eat, and he's neurotic, and he's very intense, and he has a weird voice. And even from his visual look, he looks like he's the predecessor to Rorschach. I'm sorry, I said predecessor. I meant the follow-up to Rorschach. I love him. He's amazing. I loved his interrogation scene in the pod. And he looks like he's going to be awesome. The Red Scare, a random Russian thug who wears a tracksuit. That is references so many cool things, but ultimately not enough is revealed, but it looks like he's going to be cool. And finally, Pirate Jenny, we know absolutely nothing about her other than she is an aerial pilot for the apparently fleet of owl ships that the police officers are using. It looks like they jacked all the original Watchmen's gear and tactics and ideas, everything but Dr. Manhattan's, and they're running off that, including gadgets from Night Owl. So we'll see, and I'm assuming that the last 2 slots are going to be surprise slots. I think one of the slots is going to be Dr. Manhattan. He's going to be a major player. He might come back and he might hang out with them. He might work with them to solve things. And who knows who the last slot is going to be. Is it going to be Sally Jupiter as an FBI agent or something like that? Who knows? But the real question is, can they stick this landing? Number 2, the scene with Tulsa, 1921. Black Wall Street getting literally aerial bombed. Now, it's important to know that this is real history and not alternate history. It is the truth, man. It is a powerful, powerful scene. You open up with that and you already have tears in your eyes and you're like, oh my God, this is going to be intense. But I cannot wait to follow this thread. The connection between the guy in the wheelchair and he's the kid, but what does it all have to do with everything going on? I can't wait to see this. Moving on, trans-dimensional attacks. Now, in the pod, Looking Glass, while interrogating a white supremacist, asks him, do you believe that trans-dimensional attacks are government hoaxes, essentially false flags? And it got me thinking. I was like, well, they pretty much have to be, because the original attack from the Watchmen graphic novel was a complete fake. So what it is the government constantly keeps making the fear of the squid aliens a truth, as physical truth as possible. And Raining Squid scene, which was a very unique and weird scene, it's all a hoax, man. It is absolutely a hoax, and I love that. I think that this is heading toward a direction that's going to show that their government is totally fascist and evil, and I think the cops are eventually, who are masked heroes, they're going to break away from the cops and fight the government. They're going to ultimately fight the government, and they're going to be like the original Watchmen, who were total vigilantes, who fought cops, who were against fascists in masks. They themselves had the heart of fascists, but they were individual, smooth operators. Next, American Hero Story. I just love it, and it's simply like Tales from the Black Panther. This is going to be the fiction within the fiction, to keep that thing going. But it's also going to connect us to the original Minutemen, who were like the World War II era heroes, and talking about Golden Age heroes, where the comedian and a bunch of other guys came from. I love it. I'm assuming every episode, once they start cracking into it, it's going to show us a different member of them, like Mothman and all these other guys. This sounds really cool, and ultimately I have a feeling that in that world, that show is produced by none other than Ryan Murphy of American Horror Story fame. Next, we have Panda. So a major part of the storyline is this guy Panda, who is the agent who allows the cops to unleash their guns. And because of the crisis that seems to have happened, he has unleashed everybody's guns for the next week or two until they see fit. And he believes that it's against liberty. He believes so strongly in what he's doing. His job is to question whether he should release the guns. And I have a feeling that the villains who was ever behind all this, 7th Cavalry stuff, wants the cops to have their guns. They want it released. They want the cops to go around shooting people. They want people to believe that their liberties are being taken. And what it is the cops have fallen straight into their hands. Next, Adrian Veidt. Now, I'm going to be honest, Adrian Veidt is one of the things in this series, this first episode, that did not work for me. He is too strange. It is hard to approximate what he's doing in this episode. He had nothing to do, and he's disconnected from all the other, Regina King's story and all these other ones. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? It was amateurish the way they executed it. He's totally weird. I hope he makes more sense in the future, but as of what we've seen, it just brings not good questions from the audience. The audience is like, why does this guy make no sense? Where is this going? What are you doing? Why are you wasting my time? So let's see if it goes someplace, but from the scenes I've seen in a pilot episode, no bueno. That is a no bueno rating. And I honestly believe our heroes are eventually going to go rogue. They're going to attack, they're going to be anti-cops, they're going to be anti-government, and they're going to have to bring down some sort of conspiracy within Robert Redford's police. Possibly against Sally Jupiter, which might be really interesting because she's a Fed now, at least according to the trailers. That is my review of the first episode of Watchmen, HBO's original series. What did you guys think? Do you think that our heroes are going to go rogue? Do you think that it was an appropriate connection to the original Watchmen? What are your feelings on it? How do you connect to it? And what do you think? Are you completely against it? Is this like Doomsday Clock? Just a money grab using Alan Moore's things? So that's what I've got right now. Guys, I want you to like, share, and subscribe, and tune into The Watchmen. That first episode was beautiful. It is good, and I think you will enjoy it. Ciao for now. Peace.